Most of us agree it is a treat anytime you can get a slice of heavenly homemade bread. Served warm, slathered with loads of butter. It's a comfort food we love. And today, it's about the bread and the baker, where bread holds a special place in his heart. Jason Dunnigan, who you might know as the Modern Dad on Instagram, joins me to share his own bread making journey. Now, I don't mean to be sexist, but for the most part, dads don't make bread a lot.
Right, yeah.
I know this is something you deal with on your Instagram, so why are you a bread maker?
You know, it's funny, growing up, my mom would make bread, and so I'd always see her in the kitchen making bread. There'd be flour everywhere, she'd have to grind the wheat, and she'd just make it, so I'd always see her, and then when the bread's done, it comes out of the oven, like, male or female, who doesn't want a big old slice, slather it with butter, honey, and go to town. So that's where it came from.
And she did like the hardcore, didn't she?
Oh yeah, the hardcore. She would like grind the wheat, and it would be making the noise everywhere. It was crazy. And then it was flour everywhere, and we'd have to clean up, but it was a blast.
Well,
I love it.
She's so cute.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with a mom who really made bread at home, but I definitely enjoyed when other moms did.
Oh,
and I would eat it. So as you went on this process, was it all just sunshine and rainbows, or was it a trial?
It was a trial. So the thing that always made me nervous about any bread, whether it's this or cinnamon rolls or anything, is that one word we all hate, and it's yeast.
It's my terror.
Like, we freak out because there's yeast in a recipe and we don't want to make it.
Right.
But I thought, you know what? If I can do this, anyone can do it.
Okay, well, so I'm ready for you to show me because I'm still scared of bread.
Yeah, okay,
So
great.
I'm going to say, if you can do it, I can do it, Jason.
Exactly. It's perfect.
How are we starting?
Okay, so the first thing, like I said, is yeast. So if you freak out about yeast, don't worry. So 3 tips. Make sure it's not expired.
I think that was my problem.
I think that's probably an issue for everybody. So don't get expired yeast. Just check the date. Also, a lot of recipes will say hot. Think hot as in like bottle temperature. Yeah.
Okay.
So what you're putting it in, think like warm. If you put in hot, it's gonna kill the yeast also. Then just a little pinch of sugar to feed it. Give it 5 minutes, it doubles, you're good to go.
When it doubles and bubbles?
Yeah, bubbles, doubles. It's like you're making a potion in there.
Okay.
And it'll just froth up. Mine gets about 3 times bigger, but if it's at least doubled, you're gonna be good.
Show me your style. What are
Yeah,
you
so
doing?
here's what we do. So first, I'd put the yeast in, and then after that, I take my Bosch, and I just pour in my 5 cups of water. I put in 7 cups of flour, which is a ton. It doesn't matter the flour. The recipe says you can do all-purpose and whole wheat. I just do all-purpose.
Okay.
And
so
believe me, no one's complained about it.
No one's complained.
Yeah.
Now, we have to mention, because you're probably the first cooking segment that's thrown out the Bosch.
Yeah.
This is like an older cut, but you love it. Why do you love it?
So this is my mother-in-law's, so this isn't new. She's had it forever. Bosch can handle a lot of flour. The recipe calls for 14 cups, which is a lot.
Okay.
You can try your KitchenAid, but I've gotten so many messages from people that said, oh yeah,
Bosch
you were
is where it's
right,
at.
it burned out my KitchenAid. And there are some that can handle it. I would just check your label to make sure it can.
And with your recipe, do I have to have a machine? I can't be doing this.
Yeah,
with
I wouldn't.
Okay.
I mean, you could, but
okay, I
don't
have
judge if you don't.
Okay. So we're throwing in
So
all
then
the flour.
I do the flour, I do the water, I have it mixed till it's smooth. Once it's smooth, then I'll add my oil, and you can do any oil.
Okay, you don't care what kind?
I don't care. I do olive because everyone got mad at me for using canola.
Right.
But you know what? We don't judge here. I do that. Then I do my honey. A tip for the honey is to make it so you don't have a lot of excess all over. Put the honey in the cup after the oil so you don't have to clean as much, but the honey will also slip right out.
Ooh, look
Game
at you
changing.
with the tip. Okay, love
Then
it.
you add your salt, mix it for 10 minutes. I'm crazy, and I set a timer for 10 minutes.
Why are you crazy? Is that longer or less?
It's just that's what the recipe said to
10
do.
minutes.
So I just have it go. And once
What
it's
are we
done,
gonna get?
after that, you're gonna take it out. You're gonna roll it up. You're gonna slice it, and you're gonna roll it into pans. Set it covered for an hour. You just leave it there, hour. Once it's risen, then you're good to put it in the oven. You put it in the oven for 30 to 35 minutes, depending on your oven, at 375. And then you're gonna take it out.
Are you gonna show us this? Is the secret under here?
Can.
Oh, this
Just
is already
wrapped.
baked. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
do
baked.
you have any tips for rolling it and putting it in the pan?
So
or do you...
sometimes it can be sticky.
Yeah.
And I feel like when it's sticky, it's better. but just sprinkle some flour on it. It makes it easy to roll out. It's so easy, so fun. Like,
and you just use your hands.
Yeah,
You're
you
just
use
like
your
molding
hands.
it,
You don't
molding
do
it.
anything crazy. It will be a little flatter in the pan, but it'll rise up in
How long usually are you rising?
an hour.
An hour.
So I do an hour. I set the timer for 1 hour, and then I go and I clean everything because I don't want to mess. If it takes you more than an hour,
Clean
then
as you go.
Yeah, you got problems.
So you get 4 loaves out of this.
4 loaves.
And what are the finishing steps?
Okay, so it came right out of the oven. One thing I started doing recently was I put a cooling rack. When I was putting the bread right onto the counter, it would kind of sweat and get wet at the bottom. So I take the bread out, I put it right on a cooling rack.
Right out of the oven, out of the pan, onto the cooling
Yeah, and I
rack.
make sure I use my bare hands. It's wild and can't handle the pain. But then I just slather it with butter.
Yum.
And on 4 loaves, you can never use too much butter, and I may or may not do a whole stick of butter. And believe me, it makes it so good.
I bet. So when you're getting these 4 loaves, how often are you making this bread, and what are you doing with all of it?
So I make the bread every single Sunday. It just became a thing. I'm just up in the morning, give me something to do. Who doesn't love the smell of fresh bread in the morning?
Yeah.
So I take 1 to church. I give 1 to a neighbor we're doing a remodel in our house.
Love
so they're
it.
kind of helping things, so I give 1 to them. We eat 1, and then there's always 1 that I just give to anyone.
Yeah.
And it's just so fun to just share it and see the surprises on people's face. There was a kid in our neighborhood that I gave 1 to, and he was like, oh my gosh, I get this whole loaf to myself. And I was like,
It is a treasure.
Sure, whatever you want.
It is a treasure. Okay,
Yeah.
you've given some great tips for other people who want to hook up with you
Yeah.
and follow you. Where are we following you?
So The Modern Dad, that's on Instagram, TikTok, my website's The Modern Dad. Everything's all there.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, thanks.